If you're looking to get a credit card in 2024, then this video will take you through all the different types of card out there and the best ones in each category, whether that is the best for spending overseas, the best for earning cash back, the best for balance transfers, the best for credit building, and more. I'll take you through each of those in a moment. But before I do that, I want to talk about some general principles that are really, really, really vital. Okay, don't skip this one. Make sure you listen to this. And I have got more detail on all of these in a separate video, my credit card rules video. But first of all, before you apply for any credit card, you want to make sure you do an eligibility search first of all. This is what's known as a soft check on your credit report. So it doesn't appear as though you've looked at this credit report, you've not making an application. If you make an actual application, it appears. And if you get rejected and apply for another one, or it's successful and you apply for different credit, like a new bank account for bank switching or a new mobile phone contract or a mortgage or whatever it might be, then the more hard checks, full application checks you have, then the harder it's going to be for you to get those other forms of credit. So an eligibility check, a soft check, is really, really important to understand your chances of acceptance. And I generally would go via a comparison site to do this because you get to see all your different options. So if, say, there's a type of credit card you want and there's a few different options and they all kind of are relatively similar, but one offers you 10 out of 10 and one offers you 5 out of 10, well, it makes sense to go for the 10 out of 10 guaranteed acceptance, doesn't it? So again, that's the first thing. The second thing is, in this video, when I go through the different credit cards, you'll notice that I don't talk about the APR, the interest rate, the annual percentage rate. And that's not to say this isn't important. It's very, very, very important because the higher it is, the more expensive this credit card is going to be. The reason I don't mention them is because I do not want a credit card to be something that is expensive. It's not something I want you to be using that's going to rack up expensive debts. Apart from those 0% cards we'd go into later on, most of the time, I want you to use a credit card for those extra bonuses, those consumer protection, the cashback, things like that, right? Stuff that's going to help you to be a skill. It's not going to cost you money. And that's why what I want you to do with these credit cards is to pay off the balance completely every single month. If you're doing that, via a direct debit is a great way of doing it. You're clearing what you owe. You will not get charged any interest. So the interest rate does not matter. Now, of course, if that isn't going to be possible, an emergency comes along and you need a credit card to cover that, then you want to look for, obviously, the lower APR, the lower interest rate, the better. Ideally 0%, but if not, there are some which are going to be a lot lower. And that should be one of your priorities above anything else, above cashback, above whatever it might be. You want to get the lowest possible rate. But the ones I'm going to speak about right now, I'm going to assume that either A, you're looking to transfer debt to 0%, and we'll get to those, or B, you are not going to be spending more than you can afford. You've got the money in your current account. You're using a credit card for the additional benefits, and you will clear it completely every single month. The final thing before we get into different cards is, obviously, this is the start of January 2024 that I'm recording this. Things will change in a couple of months, 6 months, 10 months time. There will be different cards available. There will be different special offers that come and go, particularly the first category I'm going to talk about in a minute in terms of welcome offers. Sometimes there are new ones of these launching, a number of times throughout the year. So if you want to find out when these changes happen, you want to find out when these new special offers come along, make sure you hit subscribe and the little notification bell so you get my monthly updates on credit cards, along with my monthly updates on savings accounts, bank accounts, anything else that I do for the channel. Or head over to becleverwithyourcash.com/cards, which is our website, where again, all the special offers and deals will be listed. So yeah, here's a great one to start of the year, but as things develop, make sure you check out the other videos. And I'll put the playlist up here as well for those so you can see the most recent videos straight away. Okay, so the first category to talk about is the best welcome cashback bonuses for a credit card. This is probably the most lucrative reason to have a credit card. You could be easily making more than 100 quid, sometimes even more than that, depending on the offer. Now, there are a number of these. Again, as I mentioned, I'll let you know about them in my monthly updates and over on the website when they come and go. But the one I'm going to share with you now is one that generally is a good all-rounder that runs all year round and has also a couple of other advantages on some of the others, even if it might pay a little bit less. So my pick for 2024 is the American Express Platinum Cashback Credit Card. This one will pay you 5% on the first $2,500 that you spend in the first 3 months, assuming you haven't had an American Express credit card in your name in the last 2 years. That's the general kind of cutoff for the majority of the Amex welcome bonuses. So long as you're eligible for this card, any spending you do up to $2,500, say in 3 months, will earn you 5%. And if you do spend the full £2,500 in that time, that's worth 125 quid. Now, one of the reasons why this card is my top pick over some of the others is because if you spend even a penny less than that 2,500 threshold, you'll still get the 5% on the money below that. A lot of the other Amex cards, it's a minimum spend. So for example, the Preferred Rewards Gold credit card, that one requires you often to spend £3,000 in 3 months. If you do spend a penny less, you do not get the bonus at all. So that one is, don't get me wrong. If you are someone who knows you're going to spend a lot more money in the time, you can look at those other deals, those other offers. But for most people, I think this is the safest one to go for. Another reason I have picked this one though is this one will mean you will be eligible if you decide to get welcome bonuses from a couple of other Amexes. I know I just said you can't get a Amex welcome bonus if you've had any in your name the last 2 years. There are a couple of exceptions, the Platinum and the British Airways Premium Plus cards. I've got a whole video taking you through how you can stack multiple Amex offers, so check that one out if you're interested. But then this card is one of the few that actually will mean you can do that at a later date. So it's nice to have this one, get this welcome bonus, and give you that potential to maybe earn even more money on other cards later on, although subject to all those different terms and conditions and fees that come with those other cards. Now, this one does actually also have a fee, but it's only £25 a year. And if you do go via a cashback site such as Quidco or Top Cashback, or potentially via a Refer a Friend link, then you will hopefully wipe out that 25 quid in the first year at least. So we're talking here about the best card for that welcome bonus, wipe out that fee, spend £2,500, that's 125 quid is yours. However, you do have to wait 12 months to get your cash back. It's paid on the anniversary of your application every single year. That's my top pick for the best cashback card, best welcome cashback card at least. Again, there are other ones, and I will do another video soon looking at the best Amex cards, and I'll go into a bit more detail on some of their welcome offers too. Let's move now though to the best cashback card itself for ongoing spending. Forget the welcome bonus. What's going to give you the most money as you go along? Well, actually, if you're a regular viewer of this channel, you'll know that my top pick is actually a debit card. It's the Chase current account, which pays you 1% on spending every single month, capped at £15 cash back every single month, okay? But most people, again, you might spend more than £1,500 a month, but if you don't, that's probably the best one to go for because it's easier to get. The money's paid straight into your account. You can access it straight away. However, there are times when you want to have a cashback credit card. Maybe the purchase is more than that £1,500 limit on spending you get every month with Chase. Maybe you want the extra consumer protections that come with a credit card. So there are a couple of options here I want to share with you. My winner is another American Express, and this is the Nectar credit card. Now, you have to be happy earning Nectar points. Obviously, you can spend those Nectar points that you earn in Sainsbury's. You can spend them on eBay, in Argos. So as long as you're happy to do that, and let's face it, most of us, I'm sure, can do, if we haven't got a Sainsbury's near us, we could do a couple of online orders throughout the year if we wanted to use some of those points that we've earned. This is going to earn you 2 points for every pound you spend. That's the equivalent of 1%. So the same amount as the Chase debit card, but you're getting it with a credit card. Now, this is free in the first year. And again, you can get some cash back via those cashback sites, Quidco and Top Cashback, or Refer a Friend link to make you a little bit extra on top. It does have a £30 fee from year 2 onwards. So then you might want to weigh up, do I want to switch to a different card after I've had it for a year? But broadly speaking, this is my number one card for ongoing cashback. Again, I will look at other Amex cards in another video later this month with other cashback rates. You might be asking, I know I'm going to have loads of comments here saying, but what about this card? What about that card? Again, listed more of those in more detail in separate videos and separate articles. But broadly speaking, this is going to be the best one because as long as it takes an American Express, the shop retailer takes Amex, you will struggle to beat that 1%. There might be a couple supermarket specific. So the Waitrose and John Lewis one, for example, will give you 1.25% back in Waitrose and John Lewis. So handy for that. But everywhere else, you're not going to be very hard to beat this Amex one. However, saying that, there are going to be times when you want to use, say, a credit card, particularly say for that consumer protection, but you are not able to take Amex. Not every shop will take American Express. And that's why it's worth, I think, having, in addition, another cashback credit card that you can use in those situations. And there's a couple of options you could go for here, both from Barclaycard. However, my pick is the Barclaycard Rewards. So this pays only 0.25% cashback, which is not great. However, this is, and we come on to the next category in a minute, we'll show why that is my pick over the others. So that's what I would look for, the Nectar for your ongoing spending, for the Amex, and then also the Barclaycard Rewards as your backup for when you need a credit card for spending and you want to earn cash back on that. So let's move on to that next category to make this a little bit clearer. And this is the best credit card to use overseas, and it is that aforementioned Barclaycard Rewards credit card. This is fee-free. This will not charge you for spending or for cash withdrawals when you're out of the UK, and you will earn that 0.25% cash back on that spending. So great as a backup because remember, at home in the UK, you're going to be using your Chase debit card and you're going to be using the Amex or maybe a different Amex, which pays a lot higher for the ongoing cashback rates. But when you can't use it, and overseas is a really big, you don't want to use an Amex overseas because they're all going to charge you. That Barclaycard Rewards comes into play. Particularly good for car hire or hotel incidentals when you need to put a hold on a card. That is perfect for you. Now, saying that, the Chase debit card is also fee-free to use overseas, and you will still earn the cashback overseas as well. So from that point of view, again, this is pretty much a backup, but it's definitely one to consider. Again, I know there are many, many more. This is just the best ones. I will do more detailed videos about cashback and overseas. In fact, I've already got another video about the best cards to use overseas you can check out for more options there. Now, the next category I want to talk about is the best credit card at 0% on spending. And there are a couple of reasons you might want to consider one of these cards. One of them is there's something big that you want to buy and you don't have the money saved up, but you know you can afford it. Whether that's like a new sofa or we talked about those emergencies, repairs to the car or whatever it might be. Put on a 0% purchase credit card for a certain amount of time. You know you've got that long to clear it all, pay it all off before interest starts getting charged. The other reason you might want to use a 0% purchase credit card is something called stoozing. Again, I've got a separate video taking you through what stoozing is and how it works. But the idea here is that you put, rather than spend your money every month as you would normally, you put that into a savings account earning. And at the moment, at the start of this year, you can still get around just above 5% on easy access, around still again 5 and a bit % on a fix. You put your money in there and do your everyday spending instead on the 0% purchase credit card. And that potentially could earn you more than a cashback card. There are limitations, as I detail in that other video, but you do have to bear in mind you might have a smaller credit limit and you do still have to make a minimum repayment at least every single month. But having said that, these 0% cards, whether it's for a purchase or for stoozing, they are pretty decent ones to consider. However, the amount of time you can get at 0% on this card and the other 0% cards I'm going to talk about in a minute has been getting shorter and shorter and shorter as we've seen those base rates of interest get higher and higher over the last couple of years. Now, again, I'm not going to go through a huge number of different options here for you because you want to do that eligibility search. You want to see which one's going to be the best chance of acceptance based on the length of that deal, how long you need to be at 0% for. But also bear in mind and be wary of here, and this is true for any 0% card, up to. If it says up to X number of months, doesn't mean you necessarily will get that full amount. Some of them will say this is a X amount of months 0% card and you get that amount. I would say up to. So when you do the eligibility search, hopefully it will tell you what you're going to get in terms of how long that period at 0% will be. So again, do your eligibility search, look at all these things. What I am going to tell you about here though is the one that right now at the time of recording is the longest one available to you to give you a sense of what you might be able to get. And this is from Barclaycard. This is the Platinum credit card and this will give you up to 21 months at 0%. Below that, there are a number, the drop down. Some of them, again, will be up to, some of them will be a guaranteed amount. Sadly, there's none really right now which will give you anything we can earn points as well as on your spending, anything significantly worth looking at. Now, what's good also about this Barclaycard Platinum, in fact, any of the Barclaycard credit cards, again, go via a cashback site such as Quidco or Top Cashback. I think actually most of the time it's Barclaycard at the moment is just on Quidco, but it has been on Top Cashback in the past. There could be a 19, 20 quid bonus you can get on top of that. Now, 0% balance transfer credit cards, these are, if you have existing credit card debts right now, these are going to be hopefully one of the best things you can do to save yourself some money. They're going to save you potentially more money than that welcome offer on a cashback card, anything like that. Because if you transfer your debt from your existing credit card to one of these new balance transfer credit cards at 0%, you have a certain amount of time, a number of months where there is no interest being added. So you can then focus all your efforts, that money that was getting charged on interest, put that towards clearing that debt, bringing it down and getting out of it. Again, really, really important thing to be looking at. There are a couple of things to bear in mind here. There is the length you get at 0%. And obviously, in most kind of ways, the longer you've got 0%, the better, right? However, the longer 0% cards will come with a transfer fee. And this could be anything between 2 and 4%, probably most likely to be around that kind of 3% area. But that, you have to factor that cost in. If you don't need a long, a really sort of number of months, you might be able to settle on a shorter one which doesn't have a transfer fee. Now, at the time of recording this, and again, I will give you updates every single month on how these change. The longest, I should say, one with no transfer fee is 14 months from NatWest. So if you apply for this card, It won't cost you anything to transfer it off, but you only have 14 months. Now, I talked about these getting shorter and shorter and shorter. That was a lot longer a year ago. I think maybe it was 21 months. It shows you how much things have dropped down. But a year and a bit at 0% to help you clear those debts with no transfer fee. If you need more time, and again, it can be worth doing this, even if there is a transfer fee, then the current top one here is the Barclaycard 29-month balance transfer credit card. This one has a transfer fee of 3.45%. Depending on how much money you transfer across, depends how much that's going to cost you. But again, in the long term, that might be better because at least you know you've got 2.5 years to clear that debt. Interestingly, with this one as well, at the time of recording, there is a £20 cashback from Barclaycard when you transfer £2,500 over before the 8th of February 2024. So again, these offers come and go, but right now that's a good one to consider. And if you do that application via Quidco in the first place, it's having 19 quid on top. So if you have got debts of 2.5 grand that you want to transfer over for, say at least 2.5 grand, I should say, transfer over for up to 29 months, then that is worth potentially an extra 39 quid on top. And that might actually wipe out a fair amount of that transfer fee, effectively making it a free card. Again, you need to do the maths on the actual debt that you have. And again, do that eligibility search just to sort of look at the different options available to you. Now, there is a similar card for 0% balance transfer credit card, and this is 0% money transfer credit card. And this is where you are transferring debts from you'll get a new credit card, and the money you get on this new credit card, you transfer into your bank account rather than transferring it to clear the debt on the old credit card. And that means it's quite useful to clear things like overdrafts or catalogue debts or any other sort of things you need. Now, again, there aren't many of these. The number of them available has cut massively. And again, the length of those 0% periods has dropped a huge amount as well. So really the best one right now, the longest you can get is 12 months from Virgin Money, and it has a transfer fee of 4%. There are also some from Tesco, but again, we are looking at, again, even shorter still, 9%. Again, these can change, but the best bet, if you are interested in one of these, again, do that eligibility search, see what we can get. And really important, I've mentioned this with a 0% purchase transfer credit card, purchase credit card with the balance transfer and the money transfer credit cards. Make sure if you aren't paying off as much as you possibly can, which is a good idea, you are at least paying the minimum, because if you don't pay the minimum every single month, that 0% deal will go and you'll start getting charged interest. And I said, interest rates aren't important if you're not paying them. If you are paying them, they are really important. And these potentially could be quite high on these balance and money transfer credit cards. The last section to talk about here is the credit building cards. And this could be for the first time you've never had a credit card in the past, or potentially you've had a bad credit score. You're just trying to improve it, doing something to fix it a little bit. Now, this one, broadly speaking, there isn't a best buy. There isn't a top one for 2024, because the most important, going back to what I said at the top, the most important one is the one you're going to get. Because the idea with these cards, and I've got a separate video taking you through first-time credit cards, how they work, what you should be thinking about. So do check that out. But what you should be doing here is everyday spending on any credit card that you can get. Doesn't matter what it has. Don't worry about all the extra special features and stuff. You just want a credit card. You do your everyday spending on it. You clear that balance completely every single month, and you do more everyday spending on it, and you clear the balance completely every single month. And bit by bit, that will boost it, and that will improve your opportunity to get some of those fancier and more lucrative credit cards. Or maybe it's about, say, a mortgage, it's a bank account, whatever it might be. However, having said that, do your eligibility search, see what's available to you, get the one that's pre-approved. If there are a number that are pre-approved, or a number we could, nothing's 10 out of 10, but you've got quite a few all at the same level, then it can be worth looking at, going back to what I talked about quite a few times in this video, cashback sites such as Quidco and Top Cashback, to see if they have an additional little bit of money you can get on top. And again, I'm saying this is a secondary thing. The most important thing, I repeat again, because it is so important, which one you are most likely to get is most important. Then look at these. And there are a couple worth looking at. At the time of recording this, at the start of January 2024, the Tesco Bank Foundation credit card offers £25 cashback if you apply via Top Cashback, whereas the Barclaycard Forward credit card, you can get £19 if you go via Quidco. Again, those rates can change. It's worth checking both cashback sites. Worth checking to see if any other cards have appeared, any those kind of sort of entry-level-esque cards have appeared on those sites. But again, they will be worth doing as an additional step. And then remember, all those rules I spoke about at the top, really, really vital. Well, there you go. They are the top credit cards for 2024. Remember, head to becleverwithyourcash.com/banks to see all the latest offers and deals, and check out these videos here for more ways to make the most from your credit cards.